Hello, my name is Blake Patterson, and welcome to Real Values. On this week's episode, I discuss Joachim Trier's Sentimental Value. As much as I liked The Worst Person in the World, Renate Reinsve's performance was greater than the film because it was limited in some ways by the eccentricities Trier had written within his framework. In the case of his latest film, Sentimental Value, Trier has honed in on the central drama of his narrative by humanely investing in his characters and their conflicts. Sentimental Value is the kind of character-oriented family drama where Trier is meticulous in how he writes each character's interaction. This specificity is juxtaposed by a compelling interest in learning more about the family's past and how generational trauma has spread in different ways through these characters. When most contemporary films are limited by stereotypes and poor structure, Trier's film stands out for its intelligent exploration of these characters while also creating a structure that allows their conflicts to unfold at a proper rhythm. With the deliberate incorporation of narration to provide insights about the Borg family's past and how it influences their present moment, the film focuses on a dysfunctional dynamic between a filmmaker, Stellan Skarsgård's Gustav Borg, and his two estranged daughters, Reinsve's Nora Borg and Inga Ibsdottir Lillas's Agnes Borg Peterson, and how he becomes a part of their lives again through the making of a script inspired by his late mother, who was haunted by the trauma she endured at the hands of the Nazis, and how it led to her suicide when Gustav was a little boy. Although he would like to achieve the fame he once had as a filmmaker, Gustav intends to cast Nora, who is now a stage and television actress, as the lead character of his film to reconnect. Gustav also wants to shoot the movie at their family home, which he partially owns, since his mother killed herself there. When Nora refuses to play the character, Gustav happens to meet a Hollywood actress, Elle Fanning's Rachel Kemp, who is attending a retrospective of his films in France. As they naturally get along during their meeting, Gustav gradually decides to cast Rachel as the lead character in the film, which would help her be taken more seriously as an actress. While he is certainly under the influence of Ingmar Bergman, including a deliberate facial molding allusion to persona, Trier examines various ideas through these characters and their complicated relationships with each other and themselves without going overboard with his influence. Although I have not seen any of the films Trier made before The Worst Person in the World, Sentimental Value is undoubtedly the work of the same filmmaker, but more naturalistic in its approach to narrative storytelling. One central idea within Trier's framework is how he conveys the depth of what can happen to children when a career-oriented parent rarely sees them. Even though traditional values might expect men and women to become parents in society, not every person is built to be a parent for different reasons, especially workaholics. When we see characters like Nora and Agnes clearly struggle with how to respond to Gustav, we feel the history of the strain between them and Gustav. Trier depicts this detachment not merely in dialogue, but in how they express their feelings through their eyes and facial expressions. Trier composes his shots so specifically to a character's face or body to illustrate an exact thought we have about what they are thinking beyond the words they might express to a person, even when they are not being honest. Trier also effectively approaches the family home as a lived-in space where we feel a sense of age and loss each time work is done internally by conveying the complex passage of time for the Borg family. The family home is as much of a character as the people in the film. From the rehearsal scenes between Gustav and Rachel to Nora's performances on stage as a contrast to her private life, Trier and his gifted ensemble portray these moments with a quiet authenticity that exists within the lines through how they move as much as react. In the rehearsal scenes, we recognize how Rachel, as talented as she is, cannot truly carry the emotional weight of her character because the character is so integral to the insecurities Nora exhibits. Even when a character expresses dialogue that confirms what we are thinking later, Trier's visual consideration and the actors' nuanced performances create the meaning for us to extract. Part of this achievement is in how fully realized the characters are on the page and their translation to the screen. As Nora, Reinsve is beautifully subdued in the bitterness she holds toward her father and how she speaks of herself. Reinsve captures the heartache of a woman who avoids conflict through her performances unless a significant moment in a play calls for her to release emotionally, specifically in one of the film's most touching scenes when she cries next to a bed. Through the characterization of Gustav, Skarsgård genuinely presents the facetious wit and creative intelligence of a man who has devoted his life to his work, while also showing the man who has been affected by his mother's suicide and how it lingers through his art and relationships. Skarsgård is also remarkable in portraying Gustav's sense of mortality and how it looms over him, especially in a touching scene with his retired cinematographer, who has a crutch. One scene between Skarsgård and Reinsve regarding Gustav's perspective on how Nora has not had children yet, and relates it to her late mother, Sissel, at Nora's age, is one of the film's most revealing sequences because of what it suggests about Gustav's age and influence over Nora when she feels pressured by what people expect of her, when she should merely make decisions for herself. Although Reinsve and Skarsgård are likely to be the most noteworthy, Lillas is also emotionally credible in what she brings to her character and her experiences. As Agnes, Lillas captures a woman who feels the strain with her father as much as Nora, but can handle it better until Gustav mentions the possibility of casting her son. Oyvind Hesjedal Loven's Eric is a young variation of himself for the film. Before this conflict arises, we see how Agnes's discomfort bubbles to the surface when she researches her late grandmother and reads about what she wrote concerning the torture she experienced from the Nazis. Juxtaposing this information with her previous experience as a child actress in a film Gustav made that involved Nazis, Agnes refuses the idea of Eric being a part of the production because she does not want Eric to feel the same emotional disconnect she feels toward Gustav, even though the production was the best time she had ever had with her father. The distance later would continue to affect Agnes, and Lillas brings this turmoil to the forefront in this significant scene with Gustav. Once Agnes reads the script and realizes how personal it is, the profound effect it has on her leads to Agnes having a meaningful conversation with Nora about Gustav and their past. Lillas and Reinsve exhibit a mutual feeling of compassionately felt history as two sisters, which is elegantly constructed within Gustav's scenes and what he is enduring internally. In most foreign language films where an English actor, especially an American, is a part of the narrative, the character is often mocked for not being on the same page as the rest of the characters. Even masterpieces like Jean-Luc Godard's Contempt have shown this to a hilarious extent. In Sentimental Value, Trier approaches Rachel empathetically and treats her as an equal as much as the three other characters at the center of his drama. As Rachel, Fanning excels in portraying an actress who is motivated by the possibilities of challenging herself for a dramatic role. What is particularly superb about Fanning's performance is how she convinces you that she is good as the character within Gustav's movie without being right for the role. This kind of predicament would be difficult to pull off emotionally, but Fanning is persuasive in how she conveys those characteristics within the performance in those rehearsal scenes. When Rachel eventually realizes that Nora is better for the role, the sense of heartbreak Rachel feels is palpable due to Fanning's performance and how she responds to Gustav. The sweet hug between Gustav and Rachel is as much an act of comfort as it is a subliminal wish for Gustav to reunite with Nora, which is also the case in the wonderful beach scene between Gustav and Rachel. The thematic paradoxes of Sentimental Value solidify themselves through the ideas of the past influencing the present, and life-inspiring art because Trier and his ensemble imbue art-making as a process of self-reflection as well as an interrogation with themselves and others. Pedro Almodovar, arguably the leading master of the metatextual film, would likely appreciate how Trier creates a wonder within Gustav's film at the conclusion to convince the audience of the initial reality before revealing the staged production to show the healing of wounds. While it might not be the best film of the year, Trier's humane and observant portrait of generational trauma is appreciated in a time when glib grimness and misanthropy are celebrated as intellectually nuanced ways of thinking. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great night.